And it does.
Phil, are you ready? No? Call to order this meeting of the Escanaba City Council, February 6th, 2025. Mr. Demay, please call roll.
Councilmember Moore?
Here.
Councilmember Bosha?
Here.
Councilmember Dubois?
Here.
Councilmember Foth?
Here.
Mayor Hamel?
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, seeking approval and/or corrections to the minutes of the regular meeting of January 16th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. This time, seeking approval and/or adjustments to the current agenda as written.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, is there any conflict of interest needing to be declared by members of council pertaining to items on the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I'll leave that up to the rest of council. Number 9, in regards to social district resolution, just to be aware that my position is not the owner of an establishment, but my position is the general manager. And the decision does fall onto the owner if this does move forward. So I do ask that I still participate in voting unless there's an objection to rest of council.
Thank you. Any further conflict of interest needing to be declared by members of council pertaining to items on the agenda? Hearing none. At this time, we'll hear brief public comments pertaining to the items on the agenda. If you wish to make a comment, please approach the podium, state your name, place of residence, keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Hearing none. We currently have no public hearings on the docket and no unfinished business to attend to. Moving on to new business, item number 1, approval Rose Park Playground purchase, Public Works.
Administration is seeking approval to purchase playground equipment for Rose Park in the amount of $85,847.99. This is Rose Park. I think for a couple of years, we've talked about some of the troubles up there just with the condition. And I guess that relates to another item, number 3 here. But we were fortunate, the Community Foundation sponsored a grant, and we did receive it through the DTE Foundation for $50,000. So there is a match, obviously, for the city here, but not often that you get over 50% for playgrounds, so.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Discussion.
Question.
Bosha.
I realize Public Works has the equipment and staff to do the installation, but why did they apply for the grant rather than rec department?
So the Community Foundation, or do you mean Public Works versus Rec? Community Foundation had to apply for the grant. We weren't an eligible entity to apply. But we've made efforts the last year to put parks pretty much all under Public Works.
Okay.
We've just had, trying to streamline management of employees. As simple as cutting grass, just sending one person.
All right. Good enough. Thank you.
Further discussion on this item? Mr. Demay, please call roll.
Councilmember Dubois?
Yes.
Councilmember Moore?
Yes.
Councilmember Bosha?
Yes.
Councilmember Foth?
Yes.
Mayor Hamel?
Yes. New business, item number 2, approval playground installations, Public Works.
Administration is seeking approval to hire Game Time in the amount of $20,000 to work alongside DPW to install playgrounds. So we have a little bit of a unique situation with all of the playground upgrades happening. at once here. I think there's 5 playgrounds. Certainly something that our employees can do, but when looking at the rest of our schedule for the summer, having 2 people from the company that this is what they do, working with our people definitely will speed up the process quite a bit and free up some of our employees to work on some of these other projects we have going too. So in the end, we think it's actually going to save bringing some of these people in. And I believe, and Kent Dubourg can talk about it a little bit, I think having them from the company come help us install, I think there's also a year warranty on the workmanship then.
So, just out of curiosity, what was the difference in the cost of having your employees do part of the work versus having the company's employees doing all the work?
To have the entire company do all the work, it's $65,000 for them to come up and install all 5 playgrounds. And then this way here, the $20,000 will allow volunteers to assist with the work, as well as probably three employees from Public Works. That's $65,000. I figured $20,000 versus $65,000 makes the most sense for the cost savings.
Kent, are we still planning to have all these playgrounds installed this summer?
Yeah, when I talked to them 2 weeks ago, there was 3 dates, and I said, let me get back to you tomorrow morning. By tomorrow morning, one of those dates was dissolved. Someone else had taken that date, so they gave us 2 dates, and with the approval tonight, our date would be looking at the month of July. It was either that or August, and I think we take advantage of when the seasonals are here with cutting grass and everything else going on with the parks and the wood chips and everything else. It makes the most sense to do the installations in July, which unfortunately, if it gets approved tonight, on installation for that month is going to most likely mean that there's not going to be any playgrounds during the 4th of July at these 5 parks, because those playgrounds are going to need to be removed of structures in order to begin right after the 4th of July to put all the new 5 playgrounds in.
Thank you.
Yes.
Your agenda item request for this mentions in the last paragraph, total cost, installation and purchase of the equipment, a little over 102,000, but the quote is almost 106.
I must have been a typo on my part. The 20,000 plus 85,000, 847.99. So the total is going to be 105,847.99 altogether. They just put it as one quote altogether because Michigan My Deal Game Time has the playground through My Deal, so it would all be one bill to them for 105,000.
All right.
Yes.
Considering all the playgrounds that have been installed around here in the last 30 years of that type at schools and everything, I don't think you're going to have any trouble finding volunteers.
Motion to approve the to $20,000.
Support.
Further discussion on this item? Mr. Demay, please call roll.
Councilmember DeBoer?
Yes.
Councilmember Moore?
Yes.
Councilmember Bosha?
Yes.
Councilmember Flaw?
Yes.
Mayor Emery?
Yes. New business, item number 3, excuse me. Approval, donation of old Royce Park playground equipment, Public Works.
Administration is seeking approval to donate the old Rice Park playground equipment to Baldwin Township. And I'll let Kent talk about this. He's been the one in communication with Baldwin Township.
A couple women from Baldwin Township took a ride up last week, and we went around to all the parks that we are planning to either auction off or scrap out. And they kind of took a look at each playground, and I pointed out the different problems that we have with each playground and why each one needs to get replaced. In Baldwin, they currently have one swing set. They don't have any other playgrounds, so their plan was Royce Park would fit the area that they had envisioned in their township the best. They got 700 people in their township. They don't have a whole lot of money. They said that they'd be willing to donate $2,000 to obtain this playground, and then they would be able to utilize the slide off of it, and they'd be able to make do for the time being with what's left of the structure that they would be able to on reuse. This would include them coming to send up the people from their township, completely remove the structure on their own. So then that way there, Public Works and Game Time and the volunteers have a clean slate at Royce Park to install the new playground.
One of the reasons you've cited in our background material is safety concerns with it. I assume you made them aware of those concerns and they'll sign some sort of waiver.
Yeah, all the playgrounds we're gonna require. The other ones most likely will end up getting auctioned off and we'll end up, whoever purchases each playground, they're gonna have to sign a waiver saying that the city's not liable. And we'll point out the weaknesses and the issues with each playground structure, and they're fully aware. I made them aware of what the playground inspector had mentioned to me of why why Royce Park, for example, needs to be replaced.
Thank you.
Support.
Second.
Further discussion on this item? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. New business, item number 4, approval, concrete crushing bid, Public Works.
Administration is seeking approval to hire Havelka Construction for concrete pile crushing in the amount of $24,600. And we actually had a little bit more discussion on this item. So this was bid for the existing pile. And I believe Havelka was the only bidder. And it was $6 per ton. But as we talked it through, as they are there crushing, we're probably going to be adding at the same time. It makes a lot of sense while they're there, if there was additional concrete to crush, that it happened to keep space in the yard. This isn't something that like comes out of the general fund as an expense. It's kind of like an asset adjustment in inventory. So there's no real expense to it. So I think what we would look for is approval of $6 per ton to crush concrete, at least through this next summer. That way, if we do have a lot of concrete coming in, there's really not sense in rebidding it, probably at a higher price later. But let's just continue to crush it and keep the yard open. So similar to what we do with some other approvals where we can hire a contractor for a certain amount per lead service line, I think we would just look for acceptance or approval of $6 per ton rate for concrete crushing right now.
And are they willing to stay on for a period of time, not back out later after a month or two and say, yeah, we're not doing this anymore? Or do we have an agreement?
Yeah, plans are, if approved tonight, they would move their equipment in probably the end of May and begin crushing end of May, start of June. And then they would crush through while there was still material there. Once material's not there anymore, then they're gonna move to their next job site. But last time when they crushed, they were here for, I believe, 4 or 5 months. But there was so much material. As long as we have material for them to crush, they'll keep the crusher here. And I think mobilization fee, the $6 a ton, that's why there's a slight increase from last time because we had so much material to crush. He did say that they would reevaluate the pile. So based off of that $6 a ton, even on that amount tonight, once they get everything crushed, that price could come down a little bit initially from this price. Because they said there's air space when the drone measures the pile. So there's things to consider there that we're not necessarily, it's probably gonna be less than this price tonight. So by continuing to crush, they're gonna keep track of the inventory of it. Then we can take a final count and have that drone come back and get a final count of exactly what they crushed so we can make sure it matches up on that final bill at the end of the summer or fall.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion of concrete crushing, up to $6 a ton.
Support?
Well, until September 1st. I mean, do you want to put a time frame on it? That's what, I don't know.
I would say
just-
maybe even November 1st or
Yeah.
even December 1st maybe, because I mean, the best thing's gonna be, in my opinion, the longer they're here, the better it's gonna be for us.
Yeah.
Until they
Okay,
decide
until
to
December
leave.
1st, $6 a ton.
Still support.
Further discussion on this item? Mr. Demay, please call roll.
Councilmember Floth?
Yes.
Councilmember Boshaw?
Yes.
Councilmember Moore?
Yes?
Councilmember Dubourg?
Yes.
Mayor Hamel?
Yes.
Thank you.
New business item number 5, approval, water wastewater department's third-party call-out services.
Administration is seeking approval to retain Range Telecommunications of Marquette, Michigan for third-party call-out system in an amount not to exceed $7,500. So we've been, this has been on our radar for probably at least a year. The way call-outs work for us after hours, they go to central dispatch. They have to go through our list until they get to someone that will come in. So it's a lot. It's, I would say, kind of outside the normal duties of what central dispatch does. So something that they've told us, we need to come up with a plan. This is the best plan we have. Jeff can talk about it a little bit more, but certainly, I don't know our call-out numbers, but it definitely is important. You know, you could be a main break or it could be something smaller, but after hours, we definitely need those call-outs to be successful.
Did we have an agreement with dispatch prior of them doing this? Did we have something that we had a verbal agreement or an agreement with dispatch prior? Because you guys have been doing this for a while. And then was it in our new agreement with them? Do we pay them?
As far as I know, it's been a courtesy.
That's my awareness, is it's a courtesy that they've done for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one thing I'd like to point out is one call out, if you looked at the range thing, we could have 30 or 60 units per call out. Because sometimes people have multiple calls, or multiple phone numbers. So, you know, we don't know if we're gonna have 500 units a month or 200 units a month, but this billing from Range is flexible. If we're in the 200 or 300s, we just pay less. The next closest service that I saw, I really liked it, but it was $20-some thousand a year with direct feedback and text messaging, and that gave the customer direct feedback and communication to the person responding. But today, this fulfills our needs. Tomorrow, we might go a different route, but I think we're in good grounds with the Range today.
Sorry, just have one more.
Me too.
I know a lot of other companies in town that use an answering service that does the call-outs for them. Is that something we've looked into locally?
I've called 2 different places. I think Tracy called a couple places, and I spoke to 2, so I can only account for 3 or 4 people that we spoke to.
So currently, do you have folks that are on call after hours?
Nobody is officially on call, but everybody is on the call-out list by seniority. And often, if dispatch is swamped, they'll call me directly in the middle of the night. I'll take the information down, and then I go through the call-out list to dispatch them myself.
Is your staff going to be responsible for carrying around an old-fashioned pager, or how is this going to work?
No, they're calling their cell phones or their home phones, just like we do currently today.
Just like dispatch does, all right?
How soon would this take effect?
They said they could set it up in a day or 2 for us. And it's month to month, but we can also cut their services at any time. But trust me, without this, that means that dispatch is strictly calling me and me alone at any given time. And I really hope that doesn't come to that. Because then that's me answering the phone sometimes 2 or 3 times a week during the dead of night.
So help me understand this a little more. So nobody's on call, but they're taking call when you call them and saying, yeah, I'll come in.
Correct.
This was something we spent considerable time on negotiating our last contract. And so far, I mean, other than being a bit of an effort for dispatch, it's been pretty successful in getting, I think last year they met was it 97% or whatever?
They met their quota, and I want them to meet their quota, because if they don't, they get paid less, and that would come to a point where they're not gonna be inclined to come and respond to call-outs. We've done everything we can to encourage our people to respond to a call-out when somebody has water in their house or sewage in their basement. that's what we're doing is saving people's houses and property. So I think it's a necessity that we have to have. Somehow we have to get people to a problem in a timely manner.
So how is this gonna change anything on regards to call-outs? If it goes to range or if it goes to dispatch?
Well, dispatch is not calling anybody but perhaps me and me alone at any given time.
Understandable, but if people are not on call, why would range call them?
Range would go through the seniority list and see who's able to take the call. If none of the people take the call, it still comes to me and I figure out how to solve the problem. Whether it's calling more people out or going on the streets myself and handling it.
Then no employees are paid for call out.
I get it.
Yeah.
And it might even come down to where I call out DPW people. You know, if I get my feet on the ground, I can call anyone in the city, or I might have to call a general contractor to come in and take care of it if no city staff are available.
Yes, Mr. Bosher.
Is this an annual fee?
This is a monthly fee. I don't know the units, what it was like, $236 a month. I just misquoted myself.
Okay, I do see the monthly breakdown.
All right, the 500 units is $598.
But
And
you're
I
asking,
think we're somewhere in the 200 units a month, or maybe 300 units a month.
For call-outs?
No, that's each call, you know, the packet I gave you guys explains how the units work. And like I said, one person might have 2 or 3 units, depending on how many phone calls they get or text messages. I understand you might be hesitant on this, but this is really a no-brainer and something we really need to do.
Jeff, what we're looking at is the $7,500 that's in the agenda item.
is that,
Where our goal is not to exceed that in monthly bills in a year's time, correct? So it's not $7,500 a month.
Oh,
We're
no,
hoping-
this is
okay.
an annual,
Mr. Boshaw was looking for this term,
Yep.
and you went right to the monthly breakdown.
the 7,500 is your best estimate for a 12-month period?
That's what I hope to achieve, yes. And the other service was at the $20,000 or $22,000 range, but I don't feel we need that. However nice it would be. That's something we might look at in a year or two, depending on what we want to do.
I'm just going to ask another question, and maybe Phil can answer this too. Phone technology has been advanced for a long period of time. For instance, we use Ring Central. So any call that comes in, it automatically gets forwarded to my phone. You can actually set it to where a call comes in, it can forward it to multiple numbers, and whoever grabs it, they take that call. It's not expensive, and I'm curious if our current phone system that we've upgraded even has that ability to, if you choose option 1 for an emergency water breakage, it will automatically speed dial or auto dial all the numbers that we put in the system. Phil, is that something our phone system could do?
I think you can go back to calling Jeff. It would have to go to one person, and we'd be pulling Jeff out of the middle of the night.
The having a human factor on the backside of these phone calls, you have no idea how people are amped up when they have a foot of sewage in their basement. And talking to them and calming them down and getting the real answers on whether it's a stormwater problem or a sewer problem. We have to identify who and what we need to mobilize. So that human factor is necessary. And if it's your house, wouldn't you be sad if we didn't want to spend $7,500 to have an emergency service available for the people? I mean, I really, this is the most effective way that I found. This is a complex situation, and often it's power outages, storms, New Year's Eve. I mean, we get calls all the time.
So we got it right here, Jeff. The trained communication assistants handle your business calls according to your instructions. So we will provide them with guidelines on how to handle the call, what level of emergency it may or may not be, and which departments we need to notify, correct?
Correct.
That's what they do, and we don't have to wait for them to wake up like we'd have to wait for you to wake up, or if your phone didn't plug in, because they're guaranteed for this, correct?
They are there, they are available, they're local people. Some people are just up north a little bit, but they're all people in the UP. They know the weather, and they're also adapted to calling out for Ishpeming and other municipalities where they can ask questions and help make a decision if it's a water problem or a sewer problem. So an automated system, I would love it if it was available. I did look a long time. I've been year and a half, 2 years in the process of looking for this. I should have done this 2 years ago. I'm at fault for not doing it faster. We have to have something, or else I'm getting a phone call every night to try and mobilize people. Not every night, but every time there's a problem.
I'll move to approve this.
Support?
One more question.
Yes.
So dispatch doesn't want to do it any longer? If you gave dispatch a list and we paid them $7,500, I'd rather give the money to Delta County than to Marquette County. That's my point.
I've spoke to dispatch. They simply do not have the
Okay.
time at certain points.
Yeah, I get it. They're busy.
Where
Yeah.
they've been swamped with other calls, and they've called me directly, and they said, Jeff, I'm sorry, we don't have time.
Okay.
Here's the problem.
All right.
Further discussion on this item? Mr. Knight, please call roll.
Mayor Amel,
Yes.
Councilmember Boschall,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember Duboard,
Yes.
Councilmember Floth.
Yes.
New business, item number 6, approval, safety training program, water, wastewater.
Administration is seeking approval to retain Knecta of Green Bay, Wisconsin for safety training program in an amount not to exceed $4,800. So a couple meetings ago, we've talked, and we talked through in our budget work session a little bit about some of the MIOSHA pressure that we've had and potential costs for compliance. Looking through this proposal and talking with Jeff about it, we're getting a lot of work out of this. I think not only a lot of work, but a lot of, I think, potential fines to mitigate it. Jeff, do you want to talk about a little bit exactly what they're coming to do?
Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna utilize his years of experience in this arena. A lot of my training, it can be poked at whether or not it's complete or not. Having a third-party person with I think he's got 40 or 50 years of experience. He's a very spry guy, and he's very excited to come work with us. Utilizing his experience on a safety program and helping train our new person that's gonna be managing this for a year, whether we keep him another year or not. This transition and training to learn how to develop our program better, without any holes that can be challenged, is gonna go a long ways for us.
Yes.
Why would, if someone's coming here to train city staff, why would we limit it to just the water, wastewater department? Why wouldn't you invite public safety, public works? A lot of these topics, not all of them, but I could see a lot of them would overlap. I'm sure Public Works has powered industrial trucks and ladders and
We have been doing joint training. We all group together, the three of us, for forklifts. The spotlight is on my departments alone right now, and I'm probably in the worst shape for training, and I need the most help. Eventually, I think that when we team up and group together, perhaps it works. Scheduling is difficult when you get 15 people as opposed to 30 people. It makes it tougher. All that stuff will be discussed. However, right now, all I'm looking for is a quick mitigation, get ourselves in operation in a training station or manner, and be ready for the summer construction season.
understandable. I would encourage you to get more city employees to attend the training.
And honestly, I think the other departments are probably eons ahead of us. We probably need this just to catch up to everybody. And that's, my fault and my fault alone.
Part of this too is policy review and possibly revision or addition to I think that's a big part, because you have to have, for each piece of equipment, you have to have different protocols.
I'll move approval.
I'll second it.
Further discussion on this item? Mr. May, please call roll.
Councilmember Boschall,
Yes.
Councilmember Duboard,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember Flaw.
Yes.
Mayor Amel.
Yes.
Thank you.
New business, item number 7, approval, resolution 25-01, Transportation Alternatives Program Grant Application. Administration.
Administration is seeking approval of a resolution to apply for a TAP grant. So this is, the packet explains it pretty well, but if you go up and down North Lincoln and 41 going west, there's a lot of sidewalk and pathway holes in it where they're not connecting. Part of the MDOT reconstruction project is, I think they actually mentioned in the memo here, MDOT is looking at, right now they have new sidewalk that they are taking care of $363,000 about. The Crystal Falls TSC has offered to sponsor a city TAP grant. So this would do, looking at the map, for the most part, all sidewalks and paths along the highway, all the way from the west side to Lincoln Ludington, going north all the way to Danforth. A big component of that will be paths underneath the railroad. It's proposed on both sides right now. And also where quite a bit of work where the highway gets narrow. I think it's just when you get past GFS, past 12th there, it gets narrow for a little bit. So there'd be the addition of sidewalks there. Another element of this TAP grant are colored textured retaining walls. So to put, you can kind of see it a little bit by the Escanaba River Bridge there, where they put these colored textured walls for these large retaining walls. We can do it out of concrete, or we can improve it to these stone looking or whatever we end up choosing. And that upgrade can be covered by the grant. So altogether, TAP grant eligible items, I believe it's in the resolution here. Total construction cost, 1.34 million, of which 268,000 would be city matching funds. So certainly 20% match, not a large percentage from the city. I think a pretty high impact, obviously gonna be a really big project, and we're not gonna come back to do this project for a long time. So the time to do it, the right opportunity, and I think MDOT, the Crystal Falls TSC is being incredibly helpful trying to sponsor this, and they'll be doing a lot of the legwork on it for us too.
So move approval.
Second.
I was just going to say, I think this is absolutely awesome because there's been an issue with walking problems to Bay College for years, and not only on the south side of the viaduct, but you really can't get from one side of the viaduct to the other if you're walking because the sidewalk is so narrow. So that's been an issue for years and years and years. So I think this is absolutely a wonderful opportunity to really, really improve the walking ability, but also it's like a gateway to our city. So we're going to make it look pretty.
I assume we'll see a rendering of these plans prior to.
Yeah, we can come back with that. For the application, I think that's something they're looking for a little help from us to produce a rendering.
Okay.
But of course, before it goes to bid, we would have probably something more final.
When we say viaduct, I start thinking about some sort of safety barrier between the sidewalk and the street to prevent. So, further discussion? Mr. May, please call roll.
Councilmember Floth?
Yes.
Councilmember Dubois?
Yes.
Councilmember Moore?
Yes.
Councilmember Boshaw?
Yes.
Mayor Amel?
Yes. New business, item number 8, approval renewable energy plan, electric.
Administration is requesting City Council approval of the renewable energy plan developed by Michigan Public Power Association. I can let Jerry Percola talk about it in a little more detail, but kind of in a nutshell, what you see on this chart is purchasing of RECs, the renewable energy certificates, to accomplish what the law says we have to accomplish. It then transitions to energy credits obtained through a PPA, which is a power purchase agreement. At a certain point, RECs are not good enough. We actually need to buy clean power. So you see the transition. This has to be, I think, updated every 2 years. It's a plan that says this is what we're going to do. It's not necessarily what actually ends up happening, but it's a way for, I guess, agencies to plan for what's going to happen. We still will be looking for generation opportunities, but it doesn't mean that we necessarily will do one. That'll be a much bigger conversation, but it's a plan that we're required to submit.
If I could take a step back a little bit, the state of Michigan passed the clean energy and renewable energy laws in November of '23. One requirement is all utilities need to file a renewable energy plan by February 27th. It's in the law. So we hired MPPA to put this plan together. We feel it's a good plan. Like Jim said, early on, we're going to purchase renewable energy credits just from the market. And then later on, we'll start purchasing through a PPA, power purchase agreement. Again, the renewable energy plan needs to be reviewed and amended every 2 years. So if things aren't going the way we plan, we always have that opportunity to amend our plan.
Motion to approve submission of the plan.
Support.
Further discussion on the item? Mr. Demay, please call roll.
Councilmember DeWart?
Yes.
Councilmember Moore?
Yes.
Councilmember Boschna?
Yes.
Councilmember Flah?
Yes.
Mayor Emo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. New business item number 9, approval, resolution number 25-02, social district resolution, DDA.
Administration is requesting City Council approval of the attached resolution number 25-02 to establish a social district within the downtown development DDA area. One option two, and it kind of came up after the agenda went out, is actually extending this within the DDA all the way to Lincoln Road. That would pick up, I think, La Cantina, Moe's Pub, and the Stonehouse area. So Craig Warple with the DDA is here. He did a lot of the legwork on putting together the social district management plan. Been in the works for quite a while. I know on the city side, we did make some calls to other communities that have done it, especially on the law enforcement side. Everybody we talked to had no issues with people being unruly. Everybody seemed generally positive about it. So we don't have any concerns on our end from that front. But as far as how does a social district work and what is it, Craig, tell us all about it.
Good evening. Yes, there are already 7 communities in the Upper Peninsula that have social districts. In an effort to increase the opportunities for business and the community, the Escanaba DDA Board is asking that the City Council designate a social district within the downtown. The social district is intended to provide extra outdoor space for dining and consumption of alcoholic beverages in what are called common areas within that social district. There are 3 things that we're required to file with the state in order to be designated so. One is the resolutions that are before you. The other is a map of the area with the list of the potential licensees, of which there are 15 with the one proposal. The map will run from, this one runs from Lincoln Road all the way to the park, up to the marina area. And I can talk more about what the different colors on that map might mean. The hours that we would look to establish for the area is 11 a.m. until 10 p.m. Monday through Sunday. The social district is the area in which the city will allow establishments with the Michigan Liquor Control Commission license and the state social district permit to participate in selling social district drinks. The common area is the area which patrons from a permitted social district establishment are allowed to possess and consume alcoholic beverages in the social district cups. As part of what the other boundaries and conditions are, the temporary commons area may request special hours of operation in conjunction with an event that is planned within the social district. The requested hours of operation will be included in the request for the temporary commons area. And that would mean if you want to extend it past the 10 o'clock, or for some reason you feel like you have to have something for breakfast. You can also designate, the map shows the yellow area being the commons area. Those are the sidewalks, and then that you would have there. If there is a side street that is not yellow, that the city council is being asked to provide an event for that area, as long as it's within the boundaries, which is the black line and the grayed area, and then the city council would have the approval to do so through the regular request that goes through the city clerk. If a nonprofit organization requests a special license for a location within the social district commons area, that portion of the commons area would be utilized exclusively by the special licensee and be separate from the portion of the commons area to be used exclusively by social district permittees. The events common area is set up for use by nonprofits within the special license. So that is already within the state's guidelines. For instance, if the Elks decided that they wanted to have an event at the municipal dock, then you cannot buy an alcoholic drink from the House of Ludington and carry it into the municipal dock area, because they have the rights to sell the alcohol in that area. But you would still, because it's an events area, come under the rules and regulations of a social district. So that's just one of the things to be aware of. Qualified licensees, there's 15 of them within this proposal, and then you have a list of them before you. Those that become social district permit holders must comply with the state statute concerning social districts. The city certainly has the right to then also not designate or allow that business to proceed even with state permit. Management, the Escanaba Social District would be created and operated by the City of Escanaba in coordination with the Escanaba Downtown Development Authority. The social district's management and maintenance will also be supported by Escanaba Public Safety and Escanaba Public Works Department. Events planned within the social district may request a temporary commons area and special hours of operation in conjunction with the planned event. Temporary commons area, special hours of operation requests for additional waste management services will be reviewed and approved by the city in conjunction with the standard event application. So the only thing that we would have to add to that application is whether or not it's a social district event. Enforcement in the Escanaba Social District will be provided by Escanaba Public Safety. The city council may revoke the social district and/or commons area if it is determined that the district threatens the health, safety, or welfare of the public or has become a public nuisance. That's actually language from the law itself. So at any time, the city council can end this situation. The DDA will be responsible for marketing the district, including signage designating the boundaries of the social district, which is required by law, and information explaining the program to participating businesses. Signage will be placed throughout the social district to denote the boundaries of the district and its designated consumption areas. Placements of those signs will be determined by Escanaba Public Works according to the state guidelines. Some signage may include a QR code that will be linked to the web page that is maintained by the DDA, which includes key information pertaining to the social district, especially if there's a situation that may be changing because of an event. Beverages, the containers. The social district beverages may be served in cups no larger than 16 ounces. They are one-time use cups only and must include the Escanaba Downtown Social District logo, which you have on the front of your manual there, and the name and/or logo of the licensee or the business on the opposite side. So the ones I saw in Marquette, they were actually nicely printed on both sides, but the law allows us just to put a sticker on that cup as well. And then it can be taken out of it has to be sold in that cup in order to go out of the business. So if you're in the business and you don't want a social district drink, you can get it in a regular glass like you do at any time that you're there. But if you decide that you want to take a beer outside and walk down the sidewalk, then you have to buy it within that special cup. The cups cannot be glass, and they cannot be more than 16 ounces. The DDA will be providing logos for sale to the social district permit holders or offer the image for printing on the beverage containers. Those cups are the responsibility of the business themselves. There is a cost, by the way, to the businesses if they want to be able to participate. It's $70 and $250. They have to be licensed through the state. And then waste management, there'll be trash, we already have trash receptacles at our corners throughout the city, and Public Works picks those up every week. And so that, we would obviously continue to support that. So that is the management plan in a nutshell. If there's any questions, I'm certainly, hopefully being able to help with that.
Karen?
Does this affect any of our current city zoning laws for outdoor dining?
So it doesn't address that at all. The only part of it is that a business would not necessarily, working with the Liquor Control Commission, have to put up a wall around their dining area. The rest of it is still city law.
Our codes for outdoor dining need to be reworked. We're aware of it. I think during COVID, we kind of just paused enforcement and we've never really resumed.
Meaning encroachment into the sidewalk area. And with the new development, especially in this part of town, when we're widening the sidewalks, that will also help enhance this as well.
Mr. Beauchamp?
The social district simply allows people to take their properly marked plastic cup and leave an establishment.
Correct.
But they're not allowed to go next door and walk into another establishment.
Correct.
With
You
that
cannot
cup?
walk into another bar
So
or
it's a
restaurant.
one-way, out the door you go and you finish it,
Throw it away
throw it away. Okay.
in a garbage can.
Now, which I was also asked, these garbage cans that have been, some of them have been on Ludington Street for quite a few years, could they be moved next to establishments that are actually being used? I'm told some garbage cans are in front of empty buildings.
They're mostly on the corners, and that's for easy pickup by the garbage trucks because they come with the arms. I don't know that, any time that I've seen this, I don't think people go outside the bar and drink outside the bar. What they're doing is moving down
True,
the street.
but I could see in the case of parades now, if you're allowed to.
That's the part, right. That,
Get one, you're going to finish it next to the establishment that you walked out of. When it's empty, you're not going to walk across the street just because the garbage can's over there. You're probably going to crush it and kick it in the curb.
That's something we could talk to Public
Address,
Works.
okay. And my second question, right now, a person could walk into an establishment, get a six-pack, walk out the door onto the sidewalk and open it up and take a stroll down to the park. Now, with the social district, they'll still be allowed to do that, won't they? Or in the case of the municipal dock, rock the dock, people carrying their own now, social district won't prevent them from doing that.
so, yes, it does. And that's why the municipal dock and the Marina Fest are designated as event common area, so that when they're not an event, you can do exactly what you said. But you cannot walk up and down Ludington Street with a beer that you brought yourself.
After this, anytime,
I don't know that it's allowed now
I believe it
necessarily.
is.
I'm not sure what the
Ludington
open-in
Park
talks, yeah, be a good question for John.
Okay.
But it would prevent that from occurring once this is passed.
It is.
Or if there's an event that requests a temporary thing on the municipal dock, but obviously we don't have a gate there. And
I could see
Mr.
that.
Bosha and I want to come down and split a six-pack and listen to the music.
If
That would be-
alcohol is being sold there,
That's what I mean, in the cups, then we can't do that, right?
correct.
I think we might have to think about this a little bit longer.
So, all right, let me ask a question now. So I put a Labor Day event down there. You're very familiar with it. So are you saying Delta County Trades and Labor, in conjunction with the city of Escanaba, will put on a Labor Day event in the park? We have our own license to sell alcohol for that
Correct.
day. We have it fenced, and nobody goes outside that fenced area. Currently, folks can bring their own alcohol into the park that day.
Correct.
Are you saying, once this goes through, on that event day, people can't take their own alcohol in there?
Nope, I'm not saying that.
Okay, that's
As long as you do not designate it as a social district event.
Okay,
If you continue to, don't mind having the fence around the area that you're selling the alcohol, then it is not a social district event. You're complying with the state laws under a different area.
What are
all
we,
right, so move approval.
But then I'll support, but then the establishments need to be notified that they cannot sell the plastic cups to go on that day?
No, they can certainly sell, South City Pub can sell a beer and you can walk down Ludington Street when they're having an event down at the municipal dock that is, whether it's a social district or not a social district event.
Okay. So then why
just
would,
can't be in that area.
someone request, like the dock event, why would they request that to be?
Because they don't want to be fenced in.
So if they were a nonprofit event was at the municipal and they were selling alcohol or cups that down there,
And you approved it.
and we approved it, and they go to the House of Ludington and they say, I want a to-go cup as well, they can't take the purchase that they got from me to go into, I
The
believe,
municipal
the
dock
municipal
area.
dock area. They have to get that cup from them.
But they can walk down to the marina.
But they can walk down, it's still the district
Mm-hmm.
with it.
How is the general public going to know what day or what event is?
We will have, that's the job, our job is to provide the information for that.
sounds like a troublesome thing to enforce. I mean, I picture.
do that through
The municipal
signage.
dock is a very large place, and I mean, unless we're gonna have people standing there checking your cups.
Back to the Labor Day event.
I'm concerned, Mr. Wolf, I'm concerned, I think we're all concerned about the same thing. We're asking you from different angles, but we're really concerned with, that's a community space, that we have community events. And I think we're all concerned with the potential of a group wanting to good intentionally have an event there and do a social district event so that they can sell things, but then it kind of restricts some of the freedoms that we've been enjoying in this space that we've just been relearning how to utilize in the last decade. Because it used to sit pretty empty, and we're just starting to really enjoy going down here in the areas in the park. And I would like to be able to maybe go to the House of Ludington and get something that they have there and walk across the street.
You can
Not-
do that as long as it's not in the event.
That's what I mean. I think we're all concerned about the rest of the public being somewhat restricted from that public space on that, with that concept. Mr. Bosher?
Yeah, I was just going to say, it sounds like we're excluding the majority because a few want to go across the street and walk out with their cup.
I can't change it, just so you know.
Well, yeah, right.
That's state law.
I think part of
Okay.
those private events, often they're a fundraiser in some form where they're making money on the sales of the drinks. I mean, kind of undermines the purpose of those events sometimes, if people can just walk in with different drinks.
So each establishment is going to have their own type of cup as long as it has a sticker on it. And it's plastic.
16 ounces or less.
Okay, so then
It can't be
theoretically,
glass. Doesn't have to be plastic necessarily, but it can't be glass.
so then using the House of Ludington and the municipal dock thing, if they both bought the same kind of plastic cups that were the exact same and put the stickers on it, then they went back and
No,
forth
they
and no one
can't.
would know.
No, you can't.
How would they, I'm saying, how would they
Because
differentiate that?
The cup has to have the logo for the social district and then the logo of the business on the other side.
Okay.
And any event would have an event logo on it, correct?
Well,
Whatever
who's
it
ever
is.
selling it has got
If it's
their own
foosball
logo.
tournament fest on the municipal dock on July 23rd, they're gonna have that logo on the cup, right?
Correct.
So help me understand a little more. So I'm sorry.
But any of those events would have to be approved by council, submitted with the rest of the application, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay,
So if
Are you-
Labor
are
Day.
you cooking?
Yeah, no, it's the.
Are you okay?
Somebody in there is cooking.
all right.
On Labor Day event, if we make it a social event, we don't have to have a fence around there, is what you're
Correct.
saying? Okay, that's the understanding that I'm getting, okay. I kind of like the idea of not having a fence, I can tell you that.
I do have a concern with definitely more waste management, more garbage cans. I can tell you that the House of Langton does not have a garbage can at that corner. I can tell probably a couple other establishments don't really have garbage can access. And I just know it's going to be an uptick of garbage. It's going to increase with disposing of cups, especially summertime, walking up and down foot traffic. I got to throw this cup out, get another one, make it down, throw another cup away, get another one, throw it away. Have we looked into how many garbage cans we would need to increase, or?
15.
So
I'm just going to go with the number of establishments, and I'm going to say 15, just
you are also,
spitballing here, but
you're also in the advantage that beginning this year, we're going to undergo major construction.
Yes, correct.
From Ludington Park to 10th Street.
Yes.
So you're going to see a completely different, don't even look at that street the way you're looking at it now.
Perfect.
It is going to be completely different, and that will certainly include waste management in that area as well. But we can certainly take a look at the other areas and see where is
can
lacking.
the city and/or the DDA, Public Works, sponsor 15 additional receptacles to these businesses, should they choose to participate, so that they're not encumbered with the waste issue?
Yeah, I mean, we might have to come need to buy 15 garbage cans, but
I certainly don't
Yeah, I
anticipate
think
all
That's, I
15.
mean, as a
I don't
as a
anticipate
gesture
all
of
15
goodwill towards the
participating.
businesses, because as Mr. Bosha pointed out, boy, that's a long walk down there, and I'll just set it on the ledge and forget about it. Well, look, the
Yeah.
wind took it away. And if that didn't happen, we wouldn't have an Eski cleanup event every year.
I was going to say, I've been cleaning up beer and cans in front of my building for
So
years.
I would
yeah.
say if we're willing to do that, to assist the businesses with a small gesture like that, it seems reasonable. I know those garbage cans aren't free, but
I guess my last comment, if council does go forward with this, it's a commitment on the part of these 15 establishments. So it's not like we would want to pull the rug out from under them after they've already paid the annual fee.
I don't know what their process is. If when they opt in, is this a fee that's added onto their liquor license payment when they make it? So-
It's an add-on to the current liquor license. None of these businesses can do anything until city council or decides what they want to do. If it moves forward, then we can contact liquor control and add it to our license.
So it's an option for a business. It's not, once they're in the district, they don't have to pay that unless they have an event. right?
No,
No?
they don't have
pay
to
it?
pay that if they don't want to participate.
Yeah.
That-
The
well, that's what
businesses
I
don't
meant.
have the events themselves, that's the community.
Okay.
Although Elks and Eagles have asked about a possibility of closing a side street and having a joint event there. They're nonprofits, that's something that they can do, because they would have the ability, under their license, to be able to sell outside of their building.
I'll move approval because it gives the option for
Already
these
did.
15.
There's already an approval.
Did we,
Second.
are we already there? I'm so sorry, my head's swimming. We got garbage cans, right? I apologize. Any further discussion on this item? All right, Mr. Demay, please call roll.
Councilmember Floth?
Yes.
Councilmember Boshaw?
Yes.
Councilmember Moore?
Yes?
Councilmember Dubois?
Yes.
Mayor Ramble?
Yes,
Thank you.
that went too long. I mean, good talk, though. All right, moving on to appointments. Currently, we have one applicant for a position on the Board of Equalization and Review. It is John O'Driscoll. I believe we all received a copy of that application in our emails and with council approval. All right, Mr. O'Driscoll, you may get to work. Very nice. If you find yourself yearning for an opportunity to contribute to your community in ways you haven't done yet, you may also join the Board of Equalization and Review, because there's still one vacancy. Wait a minute. Phil, you got it? There is not. You can't do that. John just took that spot. Sorry, I didn't read the whole sentence. But there are two alternate vacancies still on the Zoning Board of Appeals. Oh, I needed more coffee. Moving on to Board, Commission, and Committee reports. Mr. DeBoard.
I did attend the library committee. We did just go through some budgetary discussion. And that's really about it for that one. The Housing Commission went to attended that one. The second elevator is a little behind by a few weeks. The audit should have already taken place, and then we'll have the results by next meeting on that. I attended the police retirement board as well, which we had wasn't our audit, our
Valuation.
evaluation, there you go, thank you, Jim. Our evaluation, and
it's not
the
just
current
me.
evaluation, as you know, it's behind back till June, so it's not current, it's back till June of 2024. So at that point, when they did the evaluation, the funding, we were at 86% fully funded at that point. Explaining this is like a 5-year tapering that happens, so we will see a decrease in fully funding that has impacted it from 2022. We will start seeing those impacts because it is a 5-year smoothing that takes place with that. But overall, it was a good report. We had good discussion with where we want to move with investments.
I attended the Solid Waste Authority Board meeting, and everything seems to be moving smoothly there so far. So far, so good.
The new defined pension retirement board met last week. We heard a presentation by the consultant that was brought in to look at the first year performance. The board also accepted their June 30th, the end of their first year actuarial valuation, and we heard an investment update. I did ask that since the numbers presented were June 30th, I asked that we try and get an update, like a year-end update before our budget hearings come up. So we'll see if we get that update.
I also have none, but to tag on to the library thing, I noticed they posted something today. If you are interested in cottage food law things, the library has announced a informational session where you can be trained and certified for that. And farmers market season is just around the corner, so if you're interested in making foods and selling foods and keeping everybody safe and healthy, please go to the library website and learn how to learn, because that's what they do over there. All right, announcements. Anything? Is there anything exciting? It's cold out.
General
It'll be
public
colder
comments?
next week. That's it? Motion to adjourn?
Motion,
General
oh no,
public
public comment.
I'm sorry. I skipped right over. Phil, we need different coffee next week. He slowed down.
I see how it is. No. Hi, everybody. My name is Chelsea Hart. I'm the new executive director over at the Boniface Arts Center. Just wanted to come say thank you so much to the city of Escanaba for your support in the past. Donations, partnerships, and community connections are incredibly vital to what we do at the Boniface and any nonprofit. And so I just wanted to highlight a few of the programs and events that we did in the last year. We, of course, have our Music Mondays. Those have really taken off. We've gone from maybe just a couple hundred participants each time. It's now 10 weeks, and we're looking at, I think, towards the end of last year, over 1,000 people attending these events. So that's just one of our big things. We have our Youth in Art, which is coming up. It's a great show, all the different artists that come from the community, whether you're a homeschooler or part of one of our community schools. We have our free gallery shows, of course, and the Waterfront Art Festival. And those are just a few of the highlights that we do over at the Boniface. But yeah, your continued support, it's very vital to what we do at the Boniface. So I hope that you consider continuing it as you set your next year's budget. So thank you so much.
Thank you and welcome. Further public comment at this time? Thought maybe Phil was going to talk.
I thought Phil was going up too. I'm like, Bill, what do you got to say?
Traveling around.
All right, seeking a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thought he's coming to get some boots.